I'll adjust it when you sit.
I don't know what that... There's some line there, it looks like.
Oh, that's just the bar at the bottom with all the different options of things you can click.
Can you say a short Jai Dhani?
Srila Prabhishta Om Vishnu Pada Srila Shishimari Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhishta Om Vishnu Pada Srila Shishimari Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Prabhishta Om Vishnu Pada Srila Shishimari Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Prabhishta Om Vishnu Pada Srila Shishimari Srila Bhakti Vigyan Srila Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Prabhishta Om Vishnu Pada Srila Shishimari Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nichivila Prabhishta Om Vishnu Pada Srila Shishimari Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nichivila Prabhishta Mahansa Srila Bhakti Srila Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nichivila Prabhishta Satchidananda Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nichivila Prabhishta Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Gauri Vedanta Charya Srila Baladev Vijabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Srila Nartam Shri Vaishnava Prabhu Chaya Ki Jai. Srila Krishna Vilas Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sri Damdar Vayananda Shri Gopal Shri Prabhu Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Namesake Ho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Namesake Ho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Excuse me. Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopi Govardhan Radha Subhanatha Shri Vraj Mandala Ki Jai. Shamakund Radha Kund Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Yogamaya Purnamasi Ki Jai. Kopishwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Damodar Bhat Ki Jai. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sri Sanchar Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Chaitanya Ki Jai. Shri Bhagavan Ki Jai. Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Shri Hariram Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gopananandi Hari Hari Om.
Songbook.
I got one right here.
Yeah, I'm just using it as a prop. Prop this. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tishe He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of my beloved Diksha and Siksha Gurudevs, Nityalila Pravishtom, Vishnupad Paramahansa, Statarasata, Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Nityalila Pravishtom, Vishnupad Paramahansa, Statarasata, Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and Nityalila Pravishtom, Vishnupad Paramahansa, Statarasata, Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Siksha Guru Varga and my Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. So in the transcendental holy dham of Sri Vrindavan Braj Mandala, now Kartik Vrat is going on, and Braj Mandala Parikrama is going on. But we are here thousands of miles away. We are still trying in our own small way to enter into that mood. And Srila Gurudev's beautiful Braj Mandala Parikrama book is always wonderful to read. Even when I'm there, I always try to make it a point to read the whole book during the Kartik month. And of course, because we're speaking at different places, we have to read it anyway to jog our memories and such. But just sitting up here on this hilltop in New Braj is very sweet to be.
In proximity of Govardhan.
Yes, in proximity of Govardhan and in the Bhajan Kutir of Sri Gurudev and the residence of Sri Sri Radha Govinda. So it's nice. And by the way, you know, Friday is Govardhan Puja.
What's today?
Today is Monday.
Wow. And when's Papa today?
Sunday. Yeah. So this is the perfect warm-up.
Yes.
For Govardhan Anakut.
Good timing.
We're doing the parikrama of Govardhan. So now we've come as far as Manasi Ganga, starting from Sri Radha Kund and Shama Kund. And now, right next to Manasi Ganga is the ancient temple of the predominating deity of Govardhan, none other than Haridev himself, Sri Krishna himself. And that temple it was told that that temple is the place where Krishna stood, holding up Govardhan. Yeah. So now we're reading about Sri Haridev. Should show a picture. No, they don't have a picture here.
The newer edition has a few more pictures, but those get taken already.
Yeah, they don't have a picture here. Maybe it's in another place anyway.
The Haridev temple?
Yeah, the Haridev Ji, the deity.
Haridev.
Okay. Sri Haridev Ji, the presiding deity of Giriraj Govardhan, is present on the southern bank of Manasi Ganga. Sri Krishna took one form as Giridhari and held his second form, Giriraj Ji, on his palm. So the Leela of lifting Govardhan Dharana, will be described later when we come to Anior Gaon. You know what Anior means? Devotees know. Sometimes it's called Anior or Anore.
Oh, that's what I knew.
Yes, Anore. Bring more, bring more.
Yeah.
Well, that's all that they have here for the Haridev section, but there's more later. Now, this is actually also parikrama of the Manasi Ganga. So now comes Brahma Kunda. Seeing that Krishna was in a good mood, Brahmaji came to this place to seek forgiveness for his aparad of doing what?
Trying to create his pastimes.
Trying to what?
Stealing the cowherd boys and calves.
Yes. The cowherd boys and the calves.
And trying to create the impetus for Krishna, to force Krishna to do a pastime.
Yeah. Because Gurudev says that just prior to this, he saw the Agasura pastime. Brahma was watching that. He said, oh, how wonderful. So the inspiration came in his heart, right? But in actuality, it was like an offense that he did that to Krishna, trying to steal his cowherd boys and his cows. So that's why, Haribol, the song stopped.
I just heard.
Haribol, you moved something.
He pulled the
Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay. So also that gave rise to the beautiful pastime where Krishna showed him who he is. And Brahmaji became completely astonished when he saw that from every pore, practically, of each one of the forms of the calves and the cowherd boys, billions of Vishnu forms were coming. Because Krishna himself became them. And then Brahmaji, this is wonderful that this actually happened at Manasi Ganga. That Brahmaji came because he wanted to come to a secluded place, and he would see Krishna in a secluded place because he wanted to apologize. And that's where Brahmaji offered his prayers. And every single Kartik, Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj, he would spend the whole Kartik month going over Brahma Stuti, the prayers of Lord Brahma. 14, yeah, chapter 10, canto 10, chapter 14. So there's many important shlokas there, but it's also such a wonderful meditation because it really puts Krishna in perspective. Who is Krishna and who is Brahma? And what are these material universes? They all emanate from this little cowherd boy who's standing in front of Brahma with a lump of sweetmeats in his hand. And he has a little cowherd boy next to him. And the little cowherd boy, in a playful way, saying, oh look, 4 heads, 4 heads. So, seeing that Krishna was in a good mood, Brahmaji came to this place to seek forgiveness for his aparad of stealing away the calves and the cowherd boys. And he performed Abhishek of Sri Krishna here, and he glorified him with mantras from the Samaveda. The holy water from the Abhishek was called Brahma Kunda, and Brahmaji took bath in it along with the other demigods. Now right next to that is the Manasa Devi, the deity of Manasi Ganga. Is her temple. This temple is situated on the southern bank of Manasi Ganga, above Brahma Kunda. And Manasi Devi is nobody else but who? No. Maya Devi, and then in parentheses, Yoga Maya herself. That's Manasi Devi. One receives the qualifications to serve Radha Krishna Jugal only by the mercy of Yogamaya Purnamasi Ji. Some Vaishnavas also address Manasi Ganga Devi simply as Manasa Devi. Manasa. Next to this is Go Ghat, another ghat. So Sri Krishna used to bring the cows and the calves, the go, to this ghat to drink water. Therefore it's called Go Ghat. Next comes Chakratirtha. Chakratirtha, very special place. This place is situated north of Manasi Ganga. Chakreshwar Mahadev, who is currently known as Chakaleshwar. So it's Chakreshwar, which means the Ishwar of Chakra, right? But now, due to language changes, he is currently known as Chakaleshwar. He resides here at Chakratirtha.
Is that the Chakaleshwar that's off the road and on the way to Govardhan? You know, we leave Govardhan, we go up the street, and we get to a place, and there's a Govardhan Shiva there. Is that the place?
No, this is actually on the bank of Manasi Ganga. And it's going to show, because at that place, you might remember now, Srila Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir is also there. Yeah, very special place. So, when Indra poured torrential rains over Braj, then Mahadev, who is Sadashiv, right? Mahadev is Sadashiv, and therefore he's Vishnu Tattva. Do you know Sadashiv? Because everybody knows Lord Shiva, right? Even ordinary Hindus, Lord Shiva. And they call him Mahadev. Mahadev, the greatest amongst the Devas. But actually his original form is not a demigod, because demigods are jivas, conditioned jivas actually. And some of them are very advanced and very elevated, and they're liberated amongst the demigods. But a lot of the demigods are jiva souls who've performed pious activities, and now they have this position to live for millions of years as a demigod with controlling powers and so forth. But guess where Lord Shiva comes from? He comes from Sadashiv. Braj can tell who is Sadashiv.
He's the original form of Lord Shiva, from whom expands the creative aspect of Shambhu, but I can't explain it.
Oh yeah, well I have to read that part from his Brahma Samhita. It's very technical, yeah. But just the main point is that in the spiritual world, the original form of Lord Shiva, that tattva that comes into the material world as Lord Shiva, or Mahadev or Rudradev, like this, the original form comes directly from Krishna's body. Because you know that special pastime where Krishna is at Vamshivat, and from his left side comes Shrimati Radharani. And from his right side comes? No. From his right side comes Sadashiv, who later becomes Gopishwar, Mahadev.
Is Sadashiv different than the original person of Lord Shiva? I forget the name now.
Sadashiv is the original.
Sadashiv.
Yeah. So the main point about this, and Gurudev is saying that here, is that Sadashiv is Vishnu Tattva. He is actually expansion of Krishna, right? So, when Indra poured torrential rains over Braj, then Mahadev, who is Sadashiv and therefore Vishnu Tattva, he served Giriraj and the Brijvasis by holding his trident up like a chakra and protecting them. That's why it's called Chakratirtha. So, and then in parentheses, Prabhupada, Gurudev is saying, some devotees declare that it was on Mahadev Ji's request that Sudarshan Chakra protected Giriraj, Govardhan and Braj, and that hence Mahadev's name is Chakreshwar Mahadev. So, now the ghat on which Chakreshwaraji presides is also called Paranga Ghat. Paranga. The gopis used to cross, because Paranga also means to cross beyond. Paranga. So the gopis used to cross Manasi Ganga from here, at this very ghat, this Chakaleshwar Ghat. And Sri Krishna would act as a boatman, and he would enjoy boating pastimes, nauka vilas. And he would enjoy other leelas while ferrying the gopis across Bhagavati Manasi Ganga. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given a very touching description of this nauka vilas leela in his prayer in the Govardhan Ashtakam text 7. Yatraiva gangam anuna viradham arohya madhye tunimagna nauka Krishno hiradha nugalo babhosa govardhano me dishatam abhishtam govardhano me dishatam abhishtam. So here's the translation. In the middle of Manasi Ganga, Srimati Radhika was sitting in Krishna's boat. Krishna, dressed like the boatman, tried to sink the boat, and terrified Radhika caught Sri Krishna in her embrace. So may that Sri Govardhan fulfill all my desires. This is one verse that Gurudev would often mention, this verse. Out of the different verses in that Govardhan Ashtakam, Gurudev would often mention this verse. So you know that pastime? At Gurudev's Govardhan temple, we were saying this yesterday, on the back side of the altar, because there's all these relief figures that were beautifully sculpted and painted by Shamrani Didi under her direction, right? And on the back side of the altar is a long wall that's probably like 12 or 14 feet. And they have a beautiful relief figure there, exactly of this pastime. So what it is that the gopis, they wanted to cross over from the Chakratirtha place, right? Paranga Ghat. And go to the other side of Manasi Ganga. Of course, it was much bigger than it is today, right? Just like Govardhan Hill was so much bigger than it is today. So, then they saw what appeared to be just an ordinary boatman sitting there. Oh boatman, take us across. We want to go across. And they had all their pots. They were carrying pots of yogurt and so forth. And they were going to attend what? Gurudev always says. He says they were going to attend a yajna that was being performed by Bhagudi Rishi. Because sometimes people say, well, the gopis were taking this to the marketplace to sell. But then Gurudev said, how is that possible? Srimati Radhika is the princess. She's not going to be going like an ordinary servant to a marketplace to sell. Right? She's the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, right? So Gurudev said, no. They're going to perform yajna like that. So they all loaded into the boat, and then the boatman, who is Krishna disguised as a boatman. Do you know that when Krishna disguises himself, it's impossible for anyone to tell? Did you know that? It shouldn't be, huh?
By virtue of yoga, man.
Well, yeah, but also because Sri Krishna can hide very well if he wants to. Yeah, see, he's sitting right and dressed as a gopi, sitting right with Srimati Radhika, and also in that painting over there. And Radhika cannot tell. Of all people, Radhika cannot tell. So, if Krishna, this is the whole beauty of the Braj Leelas, that Krishna and the gopis, and they're always performing all these secret pastimes and wearing different disguises and all of that. Very, very heartwarming. Yeah, so so anyway, they were going across the Ganga, the Manasi Ganga. And remember, it was a lot bigger than it is now. And there were also waves in Manasi Ganga. Now it's completely still. So, at that time, Krishna wanted to perform a pastime so that he could inadvertently, make Srimati Radhika embrace him. Right? So, all of a sudden, Krishna, without them seeing that it was him that was causing the boat to rock, it was a huge boat. So he was somehow or other making the boat rock very heavily, and waves coming, right? So then he said, as the boatman, he said, "Oh, very dangerous right now. Our boat could sink. We could all drown in the middle of Manasi Ganga. Oh, listen, you have to throw aside. There's too much weight in the boat. So you have to throw all of your pots full of yogurt and butter and everything else, right?" So the gopis became very overwhelmed with fear, and okay, boatman, okay, and they threw all outside of the boat into the water. And then the boat was still rocking, and then he said, "Oh, but there's still too much weight. You have to take all of your bangles and all of your other ornaments. Too much weight in the boat. You have to throw that." So the gopis actually started to do that. And then Krishna said, "Oh, there's still too much weight. See, the boat is still rocking way too much, and at any moment we can all fall into the Manasi Ganga and drown. So you should take off your upper clothing and so forth and throw it into the..." And then at that moment, Srimati Radhika, as the boat was, swaying back and forth and very violently, and then she said, "Oh, boatman!" And she grabbed onto Krishna. Then Krishna was very happy. Then she understood, oh, this is Krishna. So, all by Yoga Maya, these things happen. So, now, at the same place, Chakratirtha, now there's a description of exactly opposite to Chakaleshwar Mahadev. There's quite a beautiful mandap there for Lord Shiva. And he's saying, at that Chakratirtha, opposite Chakaleshwar Mahadev, is Sri Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kuti. So Sanatana Goswami, that he had always has a special relationship with Lord Shiva. There's something about their relationship. He always likes to do bhajan near to Lord Shiva. Just like in Terkadamba, in Nandagaon. So Rupa Goswami was staying at Terkadamba, but very near to there is the Kunda. What's the name of the Kunda again? Forgetting right now. But on the banks of that Kunda, it's a Kunda where Krishna used to, and Nanda Maharaj would bring their cows and bathe them. And in that, this is more of a lake, not really a pond, it's a lake, right? What is it called? It starts with a P. Anyway, Sanatana Goswami made his Bhajan Kutir there, okay, in Nandagaon area. And he would walk from there to Terkadamba and meet with Rupa Goswami. But right near to there is the temple of Lord Shiva, also, right there. And so that temple of Lord Shiva, the grandfather of Nanda Maharaj, he worshipped Lord Shiva there. Ashisheshvar, that's what his name is, Lord Shiva, Ashisheshvar Mahadev. And that very deity, that very Shiva Lingam is in that temple from thousands of years ago. And that's where he received the benediction from Lord Shiva that he would have a very exalted grandson. So Gurudev is explaining that Sanatana Goswami sometimes resided here to perform bhajan at Chakratirtha. But being disturbed by its bothersome mosquitoes, he considered moving elsewhere. So, at that time, Chakaleshwar Mahadev arrived there in the guise of a Brahmana, and he requested him, "Oh, Babaji, please do not move elsewhere. Just stay here and freely perform your bhajan. From today, the mosquitoes will no longer trouble you." Mosquitoes have not caused a disturbance here since that time. Sanatana Goswami remained here for some time, and he was able to perform his bhajan untroubled.
It's such a faith builder to go to a place and there's no mosquitoes because so many years ago.
Yeah, centuries. Sri Sanatana Goswami used to perform the parikrama of Govardhan every day, even in his old age. And once, while doing parikrama in the heat of summer, the soil under his feet was burning hot. Weary and drenched with sweat, Goswamiji sat down. But there was no shade to be found. And suddenly, a cowherd boy came and held a yellow shawl over Sanatan to give him shade. With the other corner of the shawl, he started to fan Goswamiji's face. Sanatan Goswami's whole body became cool and calm by the touch of that boy, who said in a very sweet voice, "Baba, in this old age, there is no need for you to perform parikrama of Govardhan and undergo so much hardship. I am giving you a Shila of Girirajji that is marked with the stick and the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Perform parikrama of this Shila every day, and you will receive the same benefit as doing Govardhan parikrama." Saying this, the boy gave the Shila to Sanatana Goswami and disappeared. This boy was none other than Giridhari, the lifter of Giriraj. So this Shila used to reside in the temple of Sri Radha Damodar in Vrindavan, but nowadays it is in the temple of Sri Radha Damodar in Jaipur. The Pratibhu Vigraha of this Shila is present in the Sri Radha Damodar Mandir in Vrindavan. So it's not the original. The original is there. Looks pretty authentic though. One easily receives the result of performing parikrama of Giriraj Govardhan by circumambulating Sri Radha Damodar Mandir 4 times. There is a temple of Sri Gaur Nityananda Prabhu opposite the temple of Chakaleshwar. We would go and sit there inside of that temple. While performing parikrama of Govardhan, Sri Nityananda Prabhu and later Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had darshan of Sri Chakaleshwar Mahadev and Parangagat at Manasi Ganga. They also took rest here. So that's... And then the next one is Mukharavinda, and that's the temple on the bank, the big, tall temple on the bank of Manasi Ganga. There is a photo of that here.
Mukharavinda referred to the mouth?
Yes, lotus mouth, Mukha Aravinda. This is...
Indian face also.
That's the temple. Yeah, and we're literally looking exactly from the same point when we come there from Gurudev's Mutt, and we come to the corner of Manasi Ganga, and that temple is right there. Yeah. So, on the northern bank of Manasi Ganga is the Mukh Aravinda, the lotus face of Sri Govardhanji. Govardhan's form is that of a sitting cow. So the form of the Govardhan hill is sometimes called like a sitting cow.
Sometimes a peacock.
Yeah, he's going to explain that. His hind part is Puchari or Punchari. He has turned his neck to place his lotus face nearer to his stomach, which is the town of Govardhan. And his two eyes are Radhakund and Shyamakund. There is a beautiful temple here with the Srila of Giriraja's Mukh Aravinda. So he is given Abhishek, puja, and offerings of bhog every day, and festivals are also organized on Anakut and Deepavali. So that's when we're there, on Deepavali, when we go there. So then, the next place along the Parikrama path, Indra Dvaja Vedi. Indra Dvaja Vedi. This place is situated east of Govardhan. Previously, Indra Puja was performed here. But Sri Krishna changed the form of this worship and conducted Govardhan Puja instead. So that's right there in the town of Govardhan.
Is that with the Sheila? There's a certain Sheila I remember downtown before we turned. Just at the place where we turn. Which one is that?
The place where
Take it right.
When we turn to go to Dangati.
Oh.
Right near there, there's a on the street, off the street, there's a Sheila.
Yeah. There's also a temple with Govardhan Shila right at the top of that hill. Just like, 50 yards up from there. There's many big Govardhan Shilas. And of course, the place where nowadays they perform the Govardhan Puja, and also we did at the end with Gurudev, is right near to his mat. So it's like that place has a temple and courtyard inside and everything. And that's where Giriraj is he's still quite tall there, He's getting taller there. So they chose that place, and still they're going to that place as well now. And that's before you come if you're on the Parikrama path, and it's before you come to where you turn off to go to Gurudev's Mutt, that place. But now this is going on the Parikrama path further.
Maharaj, so we chant Astakams because it's already 7.
Okay, I'll just do one more. Rina Mochana and Pap Mochana Kunda. These two kundas used to lie southeast of Govardhan, near Indra Dvaja Vedi, next to the present bus station. But today they have disappeared. So one kunda has been filled with dirt and an electricity office has been built over it. Houses and shops have been erected over the other kunda. So now we're coming to the Dangati. This will be the last one I'll read right now. The place of Dangati. The place where Braj is telling us that he fell and got abhisheked for 20 minutes. So this place is situated in the middle of Govardhan, on the present-day road between Mathura and Kamyavan. Even today, a toll must be paid to cross through here. At the time of Krishna Lila, Krishna became a toll collector, a dani, and he performed Dan Leela with the gopis through loving quarrels, praying kalaha, and sarcastic remarks. Now, this Leela has been beautifully described in Dan Keli Kaumudi, Dan Keli Chintamani, and other books of the Gaudiya Goswamis. Dan Keli Kaumudi is Rupa Goswami.
It's the one that made Raghunath Goswami laugh.
Yes, and the Dan Keli Chintamani is written by Raghunath Das Goswami after reading his. Once on the bank of Govinda Kunda, Sri Bhagavati Rishi was performing a yajna for the pleasure of Bhagavan. The Gopas and the Gopis were bringing ingredients for the yajna from distant places. So from the other side of Dangati, Srimati Radhika and her Sakhis were also bringing yogurt, milk, butter, rabari, and many other kinds of milk sweets. Shri Krishna, along with Subal, Madhumangal, and other Sakhas, obstructed the path and forcibly demanded dan, a toll tax. And the Sakhas and the Gopis began to taunt each other with sarcastic remarks. Here's a little brief excerpt from that. Standing in his Tribhanga Lalita form, Shri Krishna asked mischievously, "What are you carrying?" Then the Gopis replied, "Milk, yogurt, and butter for the yajna of Bhagavati Rishi." Then hearing the word butter, Madhumangal's mouth started to water. He promptly said, "Quickly pay the dan and move on." Then Lalita, filled with sarcasm, asked, "What dan? We have never paid any dan before." But Shri Krishna was insistent, "You can pass only after paying dan." Srimati ji asked him, "Since when have you become the dani here? Did you inherit this place from your father?" Krishna replied, "Don't be so insolent. I am Vrindavaneshwar. I am the ruler of the kingdom of Vrindavan." Then she said, "How is that?" Then Krishna said, "Vrinda is my wedded wife. The property of the wife is also the property of the husband. So Vrindavan is the kingdom of Vrinda Devi, therefore it is my kingdom." Then Lalita answered very haughtily, "Acha, we have never heard anything about this. Let us inquire from Vrindaji about this right now."
We did this play here.
Yeah, oh, you did? Then at once she turned toward Vrinda and smilingly asked, "Vrinde, is this black one your husband?" Then Vrinda flared up in disgust. "Never. We have no relationship with this lying debauchee. Yes, this was my kingdom, but I have handed it over to Vrindavaneshwari, Srimati Radhika." Then all the Sakhis burst out laughing, and Sri Krishna became a little embarrassed, but he was nonetheless determined to collect the dan. After this prem kalaha, or this love quarrel, the gopis exchanged the dan of prem at Dan Nivartan Kunda, some distance from the Dan Gati. So to find out more about this lila, you can read Dan Keli Komedi and Dan Keli Chintamani. Gaur Premanandi, Shri Braj Mandala Parikrama Ki Jai, Shri Govardhan Parikrama Ki Jai, Shri Manasi Ganga Parikrama Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. You have to share it.